And Churchill Ogutu is an economist, and he joins me also live from Nairobi. Churchill, so the president, he reversed the tax bill. He's fired pretty much his entire cabinet. Why do you think that these protesters are still so angry?
Thanks. I think the protraction of the protest is on account of some of the governance issues. I remember that all along, initially, the protest started with reject finance bill that was done, as you've correctly pointed out. But over and above, because finance bill touches on the financing of the budget, but on the flip side of that is now how the budget is now being, the expenditure of the budget works about. And we know that there's been rampant corruption. There's also been wastage of public finance, and even some of the state officers, they have been quite showing lavish lifestyle and also a show of opulence against population that is quite impacted by poverty. So that is what is now sustaining the protests or the calls for reforms or basically accountability, transparency. So those are some of the issues that are still quite have taken front and center, in as much as the initial finance bill and also the dissolution of the cabinet, so to speak, has already been done by the president.
We often talk about this as a sort of Gen Z movement, young people coming out from sort of all walks of life, coming together, no specific leader, and demanding now for the president to resign. In your view, what makes this Gen Z movement so unique?
This is not the first protest that we're seeing in Kenya. We have a long history of protests, but the protests that we've been seeing in yesteryears have been opposition-led. Time and again after elections or some grievance of sorts. We've seen that protests have been fronted in Kenya, but those ones have been largely fronted by the opposition. This time round, we've seen that the protests have been led from social media. So Gen Z is sort of a bogeyman of, or basically the symbol of the new face of protests that are taking place, being organized in X spaces, be it on TikTok or Instagram. These are unique places of organizing protests. So we have not seen a leader that is coming out saying that I'm the leader of this protest. Basically, it's organic, leaderless, and that is what is making the protests quite unique this time around.
You mentioned social media. We heard from Anne as well about this hashtag that they're using, hashtag Ruto must go. Would you say that this is sort of a whole new generation that's just not willing to put up with the kind of abuse of power as they see it?
Absolutely. And Kenya, we are heavy social media users, and whatever these grievances have been played out time and again, be it social media spaces, is only that this time around people are actually coming out in the open and making their voices heard outside the social media sphere. But if I may take you back again, if you may see the genesis of some of these issues that are being brought out, issues to do with finance bill, issues to do with higher taxes, it's pretty much tied to the IMF program that we have been starting from April 2021 and is expected to come to an end March next year. And even that time, when the IMF program started in April 2021, there was even an online campaign, hashtag IMF stop loaning Kenya, but then the idea was that the rampant corruption based on even financed or ostensibly financed by the IMF loans, that was what took front and center. So right now, it's just that each and every cycle there's a hashtag playing out, but right now what is coming out in the open is that now the noise is quite it's rather than being sort of isolated in the social media sphere, it is now being amplified in the streets, and that is what is playing out, not just in Nairobi, but also across other towns in Kenya.
Amplified and seen across the nation. Churchill Ogutu, thank you so much for your time here on TRT World.
Thank you.